Voices and Voice of the People. And tonight we have our mayoral candidate, the Republican candidate. He's been here before, and we're going to welcome him back again, Mr. Tom Didier. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing excellent, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been a rough, or busy, I should say, last few weeks for you, huh?
Yeah, it's been a little hectic, and but I love it. I mean, I've always been the type of person that, I don't have any moss grow underneath my feet. I'm always moving, so that's good.
I understand that. Well, we're going to get right into a few questions because there was a mayoral debate. Was it last night or the night before?
It was just last night.
It was just last night, yeah. And there were some questions and things that's going on. But my first question is, and I wanted to know, because a lot of people know the office, but they don't know the capacity or the parameters of the office. What governance or what authority does a mayor of a city actually have?
Well, I mean, he's the executive branch of the government. And so, I mean, he's not the one that actually sets the laws up. I'm the legislative body right now as a city council person. So we set the laws and the parameters for those. And then the mayor basically signs off at the end after we've all, done our due diligence at the city council table. I've enjoyed the 20 years on city council, but I really feel it's time for a new posturing, I guess, if you want to call it that. Take a different element of the game, if you want to say it in those terms. But I'm extremely excited about the opportunity. The executive branch of the government really, it really looks at all the levels of everything, all the different departments, and you're really you're the man in charge, or the woman in charge if it ends up being a woman eventually someday.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. And we just like to have everybody understand, and the election is next Tuesday, correct?
It is next Tuesday, and, I've been working. I'm pretty much don't get home until 10 o'clock every night. And so they're long days, but they're productive days. I get to meet a lot of people, and I get to talk to, the person on the street that, has a, house on 3rd Street. I just talked to somebody just this past week. They had an issue with their concrete, and they called me. It's not part of my district, but, I am the type of person that wants to help. And he just told me that there was, problems with the concrete. I've called everybody, he said. I've tried 311. He said I've talked to my council person a couple of different times. They've came out. And so I put a call into our person in our office, and I think that I want to take the initiative that get the neighborhoods involved, and I really get the neighborhood presidents involved again, like it was when I first got onto council. And I want the city council that we do end up electing to really have some empowerment. One of my goals is to give the council people like $500,000. Like I used to get $450,000, and I would like to give them $500,000 so that they can utilize it for projects that they see fit, which would be something like this gentleman on 3rd Street had.
Right. And I know you made a statement in the news, and I think it came up in the debate last night, whereas you had already said some changes you would make in personnel or in office or cabinets. You would appoint somebody to a position if you were made mayor. But beyond that, it's to the lay voters, especially the voters that are on our side of town that feel neglected, what would be different having Tom Didier versus Tom Henry being our mayor of Fort Wayne?
That's an excellent question. And I think that the reason that you're going to see a differentiality between myself and Mr. Henry is that I'm going to really treat this like I'm the salesman and you're the customer, and I'm going to take care of you. So, and we're going to have a team of people that are really going to be the generator in regards to making all that happen. I think what's happened is it's just been a lack of communication. I mean, look, I'm just going to be up front. I've got 5 days left, and the 16 years that I've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Henry is not always been the easiest. So from the communication standpoint, and I think that that's really an issue. It'd be like me not, you have me on your show, and I just, if I'd said something that didn't sit right with you. You didn't talk to me for 6 months. It would be a problem.
Right.
And so
Right.
that is not something that you should have happen. You know, if I have said something that they didn't like in regards to a bill that I didn't vote on because he wanted it passed, there's no reason for us to take a opinion and say, I'm not going to talk to him now. And that's happened in the clerk's office also with Lana. The same type of thing. You know, the mayor had a license expire on his plate, and they had to tag it, and they didn't know. It wasn't like they were doing it maliciously. You know, and then he literally has not talked to Lana Kiesling for two and a half years. And that's not how you're supposed to do it.
Agree.
You understand where I'm
yes,
coming from?
I understand completely where you're coming from. You know, and there was one thing about transparency that was brought up. You know, and we're going to ask this because we in our community, even if we go to city council meetings, and we've been to several, and we ask the questions, we don't always get the answers. And I want to put this out to our viewers. This is not an endorsement. This is somebody we invited and people that's going to come and talk to us. We've invited all candidates to come and utilize our forum. So this is not a form of endorsement. We only talk to the people that want to talk to us. So I got to go with you on that one. So, but with that being said, you know, when we're at city council meetings, we're at county council meetings and things such as that. Transparency, we don't get full answers. We as a community, because we ask the questions, we get roundabout questions. The mayor has never came and answered any of our questions. Now, if we decide to vote for you, if anybody decide to vote for you on this side of town, how would you stay connected to the people on this side of town?
Well, it's a pretty simple answer. If the phone rings to the office and I'm the mayor of Fort Wayne, Indiana, I can tell you there's not going to be this situation where, hey, we're going to have this person that's going to, say, it's so-and-so on the telephone here. And I go, oh, no, I don't want to talk. I'm going to pick up the telephone and I'm going to talk to people. And I understand the screening process in regards to it because there's screening even at, the company that I used to work for 30 years, to make sure that you were talking to the person that you needed to talk to. People would screen you all the time when I would call and make a cold call in regards to an account. So for me, it's a simple process. I'll get on the phone with the person and I'll talk to the person, and if it can't get handled in regards to, the department that it's in, and it gets to the point of the mayor, I think that, you're asking, like, will I contact you? Yes, I will get back
Well,
with you.
and not only us, because we are a media agency. So, and the question was about his relationship with the media. And we give everybody the chance to come and we express their selves in that way, but it has not been. But I'm just talking about the lay people when problems arise. I know we go through our city council. I know we go through, but sometimes it has to reach the mayor's desk for it to be addressed. And I think a lot of things have not been addressed on this side of town, or it's been so pacification in the answers or things like that. I just want to know, and I know a lot of viewers want to know what is going to be the difference.
And I think the difference is that I'm actually going to pick up the telephone and talk to people. I think, and I'm going to go out and communicate with the people. I'm going to, if somebody wants me to come to one of their functions and they want me to talk to them, I'm going to go to it. If there's a neighborhood association meeting that they want me to go talk to people, I'm going to go talk to them. I'm going to be open. They're going to have my full attention for the 4 years that I'm in office. And then if I end up winning, and then if I win again, I'll run. I've already promised people I'm only going to run for 2 terms. Yeah,
I did see that as well, watching the debate. And the question was of term limits. Should there be term limits in city government or, municipal government? Mm-hmm. Should there be term limits? And he said he doesn't believe in term limits. And,
I was kind of surprised with his answer there, but I'm not surprised. I think there's a level of understanding. Like I was a 5-term city councilman, so term limits, if you termed us in 8 years, I would only have been able to run for 2 terms. And I'm telling you, as a city council person, it really would have been difficult to give up the seat after 8 years. On the other hand, as a mayor, I think just because the complexity of the job and how much goes into the job, I'm surprised that he's I mean, 16 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And I can understand, but at the same time, I just think that 16 years, you run out of ideas. I think that that you're trying to fill these voids, and you think that you haven't accomplished it. But the man has accomplished many things. I'm not going to sell him short in regards to what he's done over the course of his 16 years. It's just been my biggest gripe is I've just had issues working with him in regards to having the communication, and I want a better collaboration.
Yeah, I understand that. And another issue was spoken about with the electric works downtown, and also the progress that is being focused on the downtown. And there's other areas in Fort Wayne that has been addressed and things like that. But my question is, the southeast side of town. Now, there have been movement, but, there's been modest movement and things that, that has been done. We're wondering why they've been done or who asked for them, because the one thing we keep questioning, I don't know if you've been up McKinney, there's this little thing that's called the porch.
I was there.
Nobody understands or figured out what that is. But my question is, as mayor, what is your connection or what is your workmanship or working relationship going to be with, like the Black Chamber of Commerce, Black businesses on this side of town, where we can also be not only voting included, but financially included? We can have some diversity, we can have some equity in anything that happens on this side of town.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you're talking about is exactly what needs to be happening. I think that people have a misnomer about the southeast portion of Fort Wayne. I mean, all my father's stores were on the southeast portion of Fort Wayne. I mean, the south portion of town. They were on Broadway and Taylor. He had one on Hessen Castle. He had the one on South Anthony. He had the one on Pettit Street.
Yep.
And I think that what has to happen is, we have to put more energy into it. I think that's the biggest problem. You need a salesperson that's going to sell it. And I can tell you that, this annexation that's going to happen is probably going to be beneficial for the community. Some people may not look at it from that perspective, but it is a top 100 company in the nation. And, and I would say that, I can't divulge who the company is because I signed a
NDA?
waiver. Yeah, I did. And so I can't. But I can tell you this much. It's going to bring restaurants. It's going to bring some housing, I would think, in regards to it. And that was one thing that I talked about last night. There are pockets in the community where you can add housing because we're tearing houses out. I mean, you've got them all over Pontiac. I mean, there's a whole plethora of empty lots there, but you can't build on them because the lot sizes are too small for the zoning that we have. And so what would be wrong with putting smaller homes on there? So long as people have 2 or 3 bedrooms, smaller bedrooms. I even noticed them out on DuPont Road. They've got these 3-bedroom rental homes that they have out there. Right. And these houses are like 800, 900 square feet, and they're 3-bedroom homes. I was amazed when I went into them and saw them. So those are things that, we can develop, and I can work with Sharon. I love Sharon Tucker. She is like your rock star in the 6th District. And I can tell you she has done so much good for your district. Because she's just got this amazing energy. She cares, and I think that that's a true attribute that you have. I mean, you have one of the better council people on council right now, and that's representing the 6th District. She's just doing a fabulous job. She'd be hard to beat by any stretch of the imagination because she just does so much good for the community, and that's the teamwork that I'm talking about, of helping. Yeah. But you got to be able to work together as a team.
Yeah, and that's true, and that's why I ask, because many times, Ms. Tucker has been on our platform, and we've talked to other people, but many a times again, and I say this because we try to be the voice of the people. That's the name of our show. We try to get things out, and we try to bring people in that can voice their opinion. But oftentimes, the voices of our neighborhoods are not being heard. And I know this has been a debate, and it's been removed. But I can think back when the jail was proposed. Nobody asked. There was no town meeting or anything. Nobody asked. We were not considered. And with that being said, how can we be neglected again for something that they want to put on their side of the town. And why is it that I understand there's outside investments that has to be done, to bring in, but there's businesses and business people that have been on this side of town for years.
Oh, I know.
But they're not included in those conversations. Why not?
It's an excellent question. I think that what has happened is, he hasn't. I'm utilizing him because he's been
in
the
there,
guy for the last 16 years.
Yes.
He hasn't really connected. I mean, he's given you some roads and some infrastructure that you probably needed. I mean, they did that 5-6 blocks of where the new grocery store is at. But I mean, the whole process needs to be looked at, and there's no hospital, you have no hotels, there's nothing in regards to any structure that is going to give you any help. I talked to Sharon when I got back from Huntsville, Alabama, and I said, I got a great idea, to put this facility that I saw in there. But then I had heard that, the Scots is now going to be a church.
The church, yes.
It's going to be a church. So I said that was one of the places that I wanted to put this recreational thing that I was dreaming up that I saw in Huntsville. And if you talk to anybody that went to Huntsville, Sharon,
that's where I went to school.
Sharon was really, really upset because she didn't go to Huntsville. And I said, I don't know why you didn't get asked, but you should have gone because you would have been amazed. Because there was things of how they did collaborations and they connected. They took old high school and they turned it into 9 different things.
Right.
There was a bar, and there was a record store, a coffee shop.
Yeah.
They had all these different things in there. They had a dance hall. And it was just really, really exciting what they did and how they put things together. And that's what you have to do. You have to think outside the box, and nobody's doing that right now.
You mentioned Huntsville. That's where I went to college. I went to Alabama A&M. You know what I'm saying? I'm in Huntsville a lot. I actually got a niece there right now. So, but those are good examples. But all in all, we want to know as a community. Because in 16 years, and I'm going to go back before 16 years because, first there was Headwaters Park and that whole project, when that was going down, Fort Wayne the southeast side of town was being blighted. They blighted a lot of it for the Indiana Tech renovation. They blighted a lot of areas and did that. And I understand the building up, I understand that
University.
Yes. But again, it's just our concern is when are we going to be recognized as a business people, an entity, and everybody says, well, there's no home ownership on the southeast side of town, which I beg to differ too. We don't get the tax breaks, with new businesses coming in, because I think they gave the Culvers a tax break, with new business. And I understand that you have to do something to get people in, but what about the existing businesses that, are still trying to, the facade grants or whatever,
I think those are still available. All the facade grants are available. You just have to apply for them. I know there's certain people that get them, and
there's only people,
and you're right. There's only certain people that get them, and that's the thing that I want to try and take the transparency issue with you that you were talking about, and the fairness. I think it's really, really important that people see that, because I was talking to one gentleman, and I'm not going to mention his name. I will say his first name. His name is Marcus, and he has this boxing thing.
Yes, we know. We had him on the show.
Okay, well, I'm only going to mention his first name, but I was really kind of took back when he said that he didn't get anything in regards to when he was trying to do the process of grants, and someone else got all of it, and it's well, that doesn't seem right. I said, we need to make it more fair, and not be so biased in regards to how we're picking these. And I think it'd be an important issue to look at if I become the mayor.
Right. And another question, and not only the outside, but there was a question of diversity on boards and in the cabinet, or if that's what you call the mayor staff. What do you see being diverse, and who's being included in your diversity? If you had you bring in those boards or you revamp these boards or whatever.
Yeah, I'll be able to revamp the boards. I think the thing, the mayor, ended up vetoing it because he wanted to be able to be in charge of his boards and commissions. And I really wasn't for the term limits portions of it. There's certain boards that probably need term limits or could use term limits, but some, like the Plan Commission, you really want to have some people that really understand, you know, the aspects of like Tom Freistroffer. He's excellent because he does appraisals. So it's really, really, important that you have the right type of people on there, whether you're black or white or African American or, whatever, the color of your skin is. I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I'm just wanting to make sure that the right people are on there. I put Ramadan on redevelopment, and because Councilman Hines came to me and asked me. He says, I want to put Ramadan on. I said that's fine, because Jason Harp was on it before, and he went off, and we kept Nathan Hartman on, and so I saw that in the diversity portion, and I knew what Glenn was trying to do. The one thing that really struck me was when Glenn pointed out at one of the council meetings, and he said that, Mayor Henry, you had 40 different people that you could have appointed that were African American, and you didn't appoint one person. And so I said to myself, "Nah, come on, out of 40 people, there had to be somebody." So I mean, it was like I was like thinking under my breath, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, we have to use common sense when we're looking at this. But there are boards and commissions that certain people, they do need to have some type of ability to understand what board they're going on. And others, it's a learning process. When I was on the Cable Access Board, it was the first board I went on when I first got on city council. I was glad I was on that board because it was just met twice a year, and I got a real good understanding of what the board was about. So, I've learned and I've gone up into different ones. Like, now I was on the legacy board for like 3 years. I got off. I even chose to take myself off. And I think that that's important, that you choose to take yourself off of a board. And I think what Michelle was trying to do was she wanted to see more, ethnic and, and diversity in regards to it. And I get that. And I think that we want more youth. But at the same time, we do still have to have people that understand and have knowledge in regards to what boards they're going on. But I'm sure there's definitely a learning curve with everything.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with that. But, out of 40 people, I mean, you could there are some qualifications that, at least 3 I could tell you and I don't know who might have been on there, but I'm sure there's at least 3 that met the qualifications to be on a board or be on a commission. But, it is what it is.
It was him doing it, not us.
Right. I understand. So what you're saying is that you're going to look at a more broader base of diversity.
I most definitely will. I have no issues from that standpoint at all. I learned that a long time ago, sir. That's just myself personally. Yeah. I'm looking at the best and the most qualified people to do the job because I want to see the city move in the right direction. That's all I care about is moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, tell me, and I've talked a lot, but I'm gonna give you a few minutes because we are rounding the corner. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to just give the people from your perspective, from your platform, what is Fort Wayne needing? What are you gonna do? How are you personally gonna do something different for Fort Wayne?
Well, I think the thing is what I said in my closing statement last night. I said, we're more than brick and mortar. We're about people, and I'm about helping people. That's what I've done my whole entire career, and I want to connect the neighborhoods. Community-oriented policing is extremely important to me. I had somebody say something on Facebook that, Didier wants to, do this, and it's gonna, he's gonna come down hard on people and and tickets and things like that. It's not so much that. I just want law and order in regards to the civility in our city. So we can live a peaceful and tranquil life, and people can do their go to their job or go out to dinner or go to the theater and feel comfortable. I don't want something like what happened this past Monday in regards to somebody that was at a particular bar and they came out and they started shooting a gun. I don't want something of that. I want safety to be an extreme important, and that's probably the one reason why I picked Mitch McKinney. He's Southeast Quadrant captain. I've known Mitch McKinney my whole entire life, and I really think the police department is something near and dear to my heart. And I want the person that's in charge to make sure that we're protecting the citizens of Fort Wayne and doing what we need to do. It's probably it is my number one priority in regards to that. And I am really looking forward to the opportunity. I really appreciate you having me on tonight. I want people to know that I care about them and that I'm going to do everything I possibly can for the 4 years that I'm the mayor to do the right things for the community. And we're going to continue to grow and prosper.
Right.
And I'm going to make the whole city prosper. And, sir, I am meaning the southeast portion of Fort Wayne also. It's 270,000 people in this community, and I think we're just touching the surface. There's so much that needs to be done, and I want to help in so many ways. And I've done it for 20 years as a city council person, and I want to have the opportunity to be able to do it as a mayor.
Right. And again, we want to thank you. We want to let everybody know, again, this is not an endorsement. You were asked to come. You agreed to come. Other political candidates in all aspects is running. We're asked to come. So we only can interview those that want to be interviewed by us. So we do thank you for coming. But there's a couple of things. We're going to end this, light or however you want to talk, because I think last night you were the bigger man. Let's talk about integrity. Let's talk about integrity. Let's talk about culpability. Let's talk about being the person that you are to be that's going to lead. Now, we understand the current mayor got in some issues and what his punishment, there's many people think his punishment. Now, how are you going to carry yourself in a manner of manliness and integrity?
I think the thing is God's my witness. I think that you have to, carry yourself with integrity, and you have to, put on the armor of God. And I think people, it's not a word that people use a lot in today's society because they scratch their heads sometimes, but I really look at it from that perspective. My parents brought me up, that, you have to follow the straight and narrow. I mean, yes, the man did something that he shouldn't have done, and I spoke about it this morning on the radio. You can always call someone to pick you up or get an Uber or whatever you might be able to do. I think that there has to be a discipline within yourself. You have to have resilience and the integrity portion of it. I think people who know me will tell you that I do everything I possibly can to be truthful, honest, and forthright, and I live by the golden rule, and I've always been that way. And sometimes the truth, when I say it, I'm not meaning it in any kind of judgmental.
Right. I understand exactly.
Aspects. I just speak the truth with people. If you didn't want me to tell you something, don't ask me.
I got you there. If you don't hear from me the truth, don't ask me, because I'm gonna give it to you like it is. But I understand that. And again, we thank you, Mr. Didier. We want to wish you the best of luck, but we want to tell people, get out and vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for. That's your own private business, but get out and vote. But if you want change, you got to be part of that change. You got to be into that change. You got to be the change that you want to see. We talked about things that we want, and we've seen what we've gotten. This time, maybe it's time for a new regime, a new change. Again, this is not an endorsement. This is just knowing that what is the definition of insanity?
I love the young man that's on Sister Act. It's the second one. He goes, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up.
Oh, we got to have a singing mirror.
You got to wake up and pay attention.
Pay attention. That's right. We're going to have a singing mirror. Listen to it. So we wish you the best. And although that's running, whoever wins, we just have to hope that they live up and do the things that they said they can do or that they're going to do. Yeah. But this has been the Voice of the People. We thank you for watching us and joining us. And as we always say before we leave the people, always protect your mind.